Hi guys, so this is going to be a quick video tutorial on how to do a handstand the correct way and how to learn it quickly and safely. There's a lot of ways to do this. There's the typical kick up to the wall, and then you can also get a spotter. I did this just on my own. I went outside over the grass, kicked up, fell over, did that a whole bunch until I finally got it. And that's probably the quickest way ultimately to do it. But the downside to that is in the process I tore 3 muscles, 2 both forearms, and then 1 bicep, so it can cause problems. I also broke a kneecap on the kitchen counter doing it. So my goal is for you to learn this without beating up your body in the process. So first step, the wall is good to build confidence, and that's all. You don't want to start using it and relying on it because it teaches you a lot of bad habits. The most important thing with a handstand involving balance is you do not balance by moving your feet or your hips or anything like that. That teaches you you're using a counterweight. You want to think of it more like you're balancing a broom handle on your hand. And I don't know if anyone's done this. You should, so you get the feel for it. You move your hand around under the broom handle and you move the base under the top rather than moving the top around because you have no authority over the top. So the same thing applies to this. You don't move your feet to balance in the handstand. You have your hands up and you just move your hands and your body's going to follow because your hands are planted on the ground. You can move your shoulders a little bit. So first thing, very important, stretch out your wrists a little bit because you're going to be holding your wrists at 90 degrees when you're in the handstand and possibly a little bit more. So you want to make sure you at least have the flexibility to go 90 degrees or at least, or you're going to end up with some wrist pain. So a few ways you can do that one, this one and do the circle, or just do this and kind of rock your wrist around a little bit, both sides, kind of shake it out. You don't need to do too much for this. So find a good wall, preferably it doesn't matter, don't want to kick your feet through the drywall, and you start by just kicking up. So not too hard. Just go up, prop yourself on the wall, and you really want to keep your torso straight. You don't want to start doing something like this or drifting around. You want your torso straight and hold. And you don't need to do that too long. All the blood's going to go to your head. My head's probably turning red right now. And that just builds confidence. Make sure you can hold yourself on your hands. If you have any fear about falling on your head, you're not going to fall on your head. So long as you keep your arms straight, there's nothing that's going to buckle. If you kick up and you do try to pull away because you're worried about it, your arms might bend and you will collapse if your arms bend. So yeah, make sure your arms straight, very important. It does not require much strength to hold the handstand. It's purely balance. Once you hold the balance, it's going to take no upper body strength or anything. Now, as you're learning, you're going to notice you're always making corrections. And you're going to have to take steps. That may wear your arms out, so don't push it. If you do like 10 minutes at a time max, don't go, all or nothing. Or you're going to start getting arm pain, and that's just going to put you out of action for a while. So, kick up to the wall a bunch. Another thing you can do, if you want, is start back, step up to the wall, holding straight, and then just start walking yourself in to the wall. And then walk it back out. That's a good one. That one you may feel a little off balance because if you do fall, you don't have a wall to stop you. But in reality, you're leaning against the wall, and so long as you keep a straight torso, you won't fall over. So now that you have that, this is the confidence builder. You need to start stepping it up, and you can get a spotter for this. Now what a spotter is going to do is essentially help you up as you kick, and they're just going to prevent you from falling over the top or falling to the side. They should be ready to let you down and not stop you falling. That's really important because both you and your spotter can get hurt. If the person doing the handstand does start to fall, the spotter's job, if it feels like they're falling hard, should be to lower them to the ground. Don't just try and hold on to them, or the person doing the handstand might buckle and you're going to get hurt. So Yeah, be very careful, kind of go with the flow. So, you've got your confidence, you've got your wrist stretched out, and you know how to balance. So, the first real step to doing a handstand on your own, find a big room, you know, this big or bigger. Don't try and do it in the kitchen where there's counters or something like that. Outside over grass is nice, and if there's a mat, that's really nice. So you want to start by walking. Walking on your hands is actually a lot easier than holding a perfect handstand. So remember, torso needs to be perfectly straight as you do this, or as close to. Common thing that happens is you'll get up and lack of core strength will cause you to bow, and what that'll look like is this. You also don't want your feet flailing around. You want to keep your feet as straight as you can. So, feet together, don't arch your back. It's also going to hurt your back. If you arch, you're hyperextending your spine, especially in your lumbar and lower thoracic. So, you want to make sure you don't kink, because that's going to put a lot of strain and you'll get some pain, and you can actually cramp while doing a handstand if you do that. And I've done it, it's not fun. So, yeah, feet together and up. Now you can use your feet a little bit as you're just getting started. You'll find if you're walking, you may need to alternate feet a little bit just to kind of keep weight, because you're actually holding a one-arm handstand for a little bit, and it can be exhausting, and you'll find out what works the best. But ultimately, you want to be as still as possible. So the walking, you can build up to this. So you want to build up with what's called a donkey kick. It looks kind of funny, not very impressive, but it helps. So this is just to show you how far you need to kick. So you start off about shoulder width apart, maybe a little further with the arms, and just start doing this. And you keep going up until you're almost to a handstand, but not quite. And this will teach you how far you're going to have to go before you fall over the top. So that's really good to know, because falling over the top and landing flat on your back also hurts. So now that you've got that, you're going to kick up a little too far intentionally and take a couple steps. So to prevent yourself from falling. So I'll kick up a little too far, a couple steps, and back down. And you do that a few times. You can even walk a couple feet, kick up, and back down. And when you feel good with that, see how long you can hold it. Now if you start running around a whole bunch, or you're on uneven ground, really it's hard on the wrists. So again, don't overdo it. So now that you've got that, try out the holding it. So kick up and start walking. And the idea with that is, as my body starts to fall, I just put a hand under where my body's going. And you always keep your hands under your body. It's important you don't try and keep your body over your hands, like balancing the broom. So, now that that's down, last thing to know before you go to holding it still, you need to know how to get out of it if you fall, because inevitably you're going to fall over. And if you don't know what to do, it can hurt. If you know what's happening and how to get out of it, you'll be fine. I gotta be careful doing this in here because there's a treadmill inches out of the camera view there, a bed there, shelf there, and the dresser behind me. So I don't want to hit something. The two methods are doing a somersault and then just pivoting. So let's see. The first one, I'll do the pivot, and there's not a lot of room here. So kick up, too far, and back. All I did is rotate to where I'm falling. Kick up, too far, and back. I don't like that. I'm afraid I'm going to hit something, and you don't see where you're going, it's not as controlled. It's probably easier for the beginner, and it just makes more sense, and it's a very logical thing to do. But what's actually the best way to get out, even though it looks terrifying, is you doing the somersault. You intentionally drop, but you duck. Very important, you tuck your chin to your sternum as you roll. And you're gonna just roll off the back of your head and kind of go into a ball. Trust me, it doesn't hurt if you do it right. And very good way to get out if you kick over too far straight. So here's what it looks like. I'll do it a couple times. There we go. There's one. Do it again. So, I hope you can see that good enough. Definitely practice that over a mat. Don't try and do it on concrete or hardwood. Yeah. So, you got that. You know how to get out. You know how to kick to the wall. You got your confidence. You got your hands stretched. You know you've got the flexibility. And you've ideally worked with a spotter, but not too critical. Now you're ready to start holding it. So you're still going to do the walking, but you're going to start to walk less and less. Keep your body as straight as possible. And believe it or not, doing sit-ups and core strengthening stuff, your core is the only muscle group you're really going to use in a handstand if you do it properly. Because, you know, again, the collapsing, but you're going to have to hold yourself straight, and it's harder than it seems. So, to start holding it without walking around, start with a walk, kick up, walk a bit, bring your legs together, and then just start to stop walking and hold. And if you want, do a part or something like that. But you slowly start to walk less and less. And you can actually go back to the wall. Once you've got this bit down, go back to the wall and kick up and start just backing away from the wall. You don't want to get into the habit. This is why you don't do this to start with. You don't lean up and then just kick away and see how long you can hold, because it teaches you the wrong muscle group. You have to know the basics of what you're doing before you start to cheat. So I'll do this again, but I'll show you what I mean. So you kick up to the wall, hold your body straight, and start to push out. And see if you can hold it a little while. Another good point. It's very hard to stand. Well, it's not hard, but if you notice, you can stand on one foot. It's not too bad. If you close your eyes while standing on one foot, it gets a lot harder. So it's the same idea when you're doing a handstand. If you're just kind of doing a handstand and tensing up, it's very, very hard to hold. If you find a reference point, there's a couple ways to do it. So if I'm doing a handstand and I'm kicking up here, I'll be looking at that wall. I'll find, like, you know, there's an electrical outlet right here. And I'll look at the electrical outlet on the back wall as a reference, or I'll find a spot on the ground. So, you know, little red piece of fuzz. I know you can't see that. But if I put that here and do my handstand over that red piece of fuzz, I'm looking at the fuzz and I'm still walking, but I have a reference. Once I feel stable, I'm going to just stop to walk less and hold. And also the other thing, you may notice I can talk while I'm in a handstand. Even when I'm doing that walking, that's a little stressful. But even with that, I can have a conversation, I can look around when I'm doing that. That's really important, because if you're really tense and worried about it and struggling, it's not going to be as fluid and you're just not going to feel good about it.
Finding yourself stuck out on the ledge, and there ain't no healing from cutting yourself at the jagged edge. I'm telling you that it's never that bad. Taking from someone who's been where you're at, laid out on the floor, and you're not sure you can take this anymore. So just give it one more try.